Women on the bench brings balance. Many of the people who come before the court are women. And for them to see a woman in authority, I think gives them a sense of ease, of comfort, a sense that they'll be heard. And frankly, I think that does the same thing for a lot of the men who come before the court. I think that they like to see a woman in authority under certain circumstances. So again, it's the matter of perception as much as the actual woman on the bench.
What principles are you trying to establish as a judge?
Fair is fair, right is right. Everybody who comes through my courtroom is treated with decency and respect. While they are in front of me, they are important. Whether it goes for them or against them, they've been heard. I ask everybody their name. I will not start a case with their lawyers until they are up in front of me and they hear everything that's going on. I give everybody an opportunity to be heard without letting anyone take control of my courtroom. Everybody's got their policies, everybody's got their agendas. They'll pull you like taffy in every direction if you permit it. So there's, there has to be a lot of a way to control with tact. You don't have to sit there with a gavel or an iron fist and say, I'm in control. I know who I am. I don't need to tell anybody who I am. It's easily to be drawn into the drama, and you have to be a part of it without being drawn in. And it's quite a delicate dance. But I've only been on the bench for 5 months, and I'm still learning.
What important characteristics do you think future generations of female judges should
I'm sorry,
have?
I can't hear you say again.
Oh, sorry. What important characteristics do you think future generations of female judges should have?
Like I said, I'm new. I'm still a newbie. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. It would be easy for me to pontificate. I said at my robing that when I was on the campaign trail, what I thought a judge would be. And then I said, speak to me on my retirement and see if I say the same things, because I hope to change and mature. I think a judge should be impartial and fair, but this goes to whether it's a male or female, respectful, listen to people. There's so many things that a judge should be, decent, knowledgeable, prepared, on time, respectful of other people's time. There are so many different characteristics I think that it's important for a judge to have, whether they're male or female. It's called being a humanist and a humanitarian, and somebody who, you have to make Solomon's choices. And yet at the same time, you have to understand that you're human. You have to make God-like decisions, but never get caught up with the fact that you're not God. And although people call you judge all the time, you are only judge in that courthouse. You have to behave like a judge everywhere you go. But you are not an authority outside that courthouse. And it's hard not to get drawn into that. Everybody's glad-handing you. Everybody's calling you Your Honor. And you have to remember who you are, where you came from, and how easily it can be taken out from under you, and how important your decisions are, and never become cavalier about it. And I think that's hard to do sometimes. So.
Do you feel a responsibility to keep your appearance a particular way?
My parents?
Appearance.
Oh, I'm sorry, say it again.
Do you feel a responsibility to keep your appearance a particular way, like how you look?
It's funny. I like to go around with no makeup, sneaks and sweats. I like to fool around. I don't mean inappropriately, but I realize that I have become a public persona. And anywhere I go, someone can say, hey, judge. Or I can run into someone who comes before the court, and them days are over. And it's a small price to pay. I don't like it because I'm much more down to earth than that. But that's a small price to pay. But yeah, I have to now change a lot of not who I am, but as you say, the public persona.
What is your biggest accomplishment?
Well, I hope my biggest accomplishments are yet to come. Some of my accomplishments were a matter of timing and didn't have to do really with me. For instance, I became the first woman president of a B'nai B'rith Justice Unit, the first woman in B'nai B'rith international history in 1990. That's, it's a Jewish volunteer bar association of judges and lawyers in Broward County. And being the first woman president was quite an honor. But again, it was fortuitous timing. Taking the reins as a woman was difficult in 1990, and holding those reins and accomplishing what I wanted to accomplish. But again, the honor, and the governor of the state of Florida was my guest speaker, and hundreds of people turned out for my inauguration. But again, that was luck. That was, the timing. So that wasn't my accomplishment, although people credit me for it. Just the way being the first woman in Broward County to become a criminal defense lawyer. It's timing. What you do with it then is up to you. My accomplishments, I think, are on a much smaller level. For every client that needed me and didn't have the money, and I didn't turn down their case, and I accomplished something that only I could do, and they didn't come back and commit any more crimes, or they were reunified with their families. These are the things that I think are important. So those are the things I call accomplishments. I don't have children of my own. That's just the way life turned out. I thought I'd have many children of my own and a rainbow coalition of adopted children, but it didn't happen. And again, that's one of the things of the ways life takes you. And so I ended up becoming a foster parent and a guardian ad litem appointed by circuit court judges in divorce cases and juvenile dependency cases before there was even a guardian ad litem program. And probably that's why I went into juvenile law, and that's probably why I chose the juvenile delinquency bench, and why I want to bring a juvenile mental health court to Broward County. So life is a funny old dog. It'll take you where it takes you, and I hope that my accomplishments are the ones in the future. Yes, sir.
Judge Ehrlich,
Yes.
it's Robert Watson. We're going to move to the final part of our oral history, and that is we're going to turn some questions over to the audience.
Okay.
I'd like to start by asking you, as a female judge, in the courtroom, do you find that the individuals that come to your courtroom, or the attorneys that come before you, or perhaps even the court employees, treat you differently as a woman? And are you conscious of that, or is there anything that you need to do if, let's say, one of the attorneys is trying you or pushing buttons on account of his or her perceptions of your gender?
It happens. It's a lot more subtle than it used to be. It's not as blatant, although I do run into fathers of children who aren't going to be told by a woman what to do in domestic violence situations and in other situations. And I have to gently but firmly, and sometimes a little bit tougher than that, let them know who the boss is, and it just won't be tolerated. And I am the bench, not the bitch, not the bitch at home. And that's just not going to happen. It's inappropriate, and here's your consequences. And give them several ways to back down, gently or not so gently, and keep reworking it psychologically. If need be, put them in cuffs. And give them an option to get out of the cuffs, because I don't want to put anyone in jail. That's their reality, but not in my courtroom. I can't afford for that because I lose everything, and I won't permit that. But I know how to back down. I give them an opportunity to back down. But I have no qualms about enforcing what needs to be enforced.
Good evening. My name is Erica. If you believe the anecdotal evidence, most women who appear in court do so because of a man, a boyfriend, whatever. Do you find that to be true? And if not, do you see patterns among the female defendants?
I find that more females are committing crimes in their own right. There is a lot of anecdotal evidence that they did it for him, and they'll continue doing it for him. But I've seen a lot of the boys do it for her. I know the patterns you're talking about, and they continue to exist. And it's very, very sad. And trying to break those patterns is still very, very tough. If that's what you're asking me, it's very, very tough. And we try and put women in distress. We try and put counseling programs in. We try and physically separate them, but there's but so much you can do. But I won't excuse females and tell you that primarily they're there because of the influence, the bad influence of men. That's just not so. Women are doing more and more amoral or illegal things on their own. I find it shocking how many.
Hi, my name's Laura.
Yes.
You mentioned going back to school in your late 20s,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously you have been pursuing a very successful career path since then. But do you feel like because of that, during that time while most of your friends you said were getting married and having children, do you feel like you had to put your personal life on hold in order to pursue such a successful career?
No. I did not select career over family. It's just the way life turned out. I was married for 10 years. Unfortunately, I'm no longer married. And I hope to find Prince Charming and try it again. Like I said, life's a funny old dog and it takes you the way it takes you. But I was not one of those women who put career first and career only. It's just the way life turned out.
Hi, my name is Sarah. You called yourself a newbie. What would you say has been your greatest hurdle in adjusting to this new career, and what would you say is the best part about it?
The best part is what I've tried to do all along. I'm in a position to reach more people, to accomplish more good, more than as a lawyer, as a judge. Through my courtroom and through my title outside my courtroom. Ultimately, I hope being a judge will help me to accomplish a lot of the goals that I have set for myself with legislators, within the court system, and otherwise. In terms of, what was the other question?
Greatest hurdle in adjusting.
Learning, the learning curve. When I went from neophyte attorney to prosecutor to defense attorney, every time you take on a new job, it's quite a growing experience, and you have to do on-the-job training on your own. And at the same time, as a judge, you have to do it right every single time. There's no fallback position. You can't afford to be wrong while you're learning. And it's not just another position in the courtroom. Now you're sitting up high at the same time. So it's a little bit scary. While you're learning, you have to be right about everything. You have to know everything. And you have to administrate a courtroom. And it's a lot more than I thought it would be.
Hi, I'm Kara. I was just wondering if individuals, or do you feel that individuals that walk into the courtroom may feel a certain way about you, seeing that it's a female as a judge, maybe more scared or happier, maybe more relaxed, just knowing that they're dealing with a female?
I think when a lot of people coming into the courtroom see a female, there's still surprise, some comfort, some discomfort. I know that when I got my robes, I immediately went out and looked for little lace collars to Velcro to my robe. I felt when I put them on that it was too harsh, the black and the robe, and it looked too masculine to me. And so, in fact, it was on the front page of the Sun Sentinel when I did it. They had a few judges and how they had personalized their robes, but I just felt it was too harsh and too masculine. So I wear a little lace collar, and I have a few of them, one with little flowers, one with just, little lace. And that's something I did just to offset the harshness and masculinity of the robe. But anybody who comes before me knows that it doesn't mean totally softness at the same time. But that's something I did. I also, by the way, do certificates in my courtroom because in juvenile delinquency, you see so much, it's not kiddie court anymore. You see everything from trespass to murder these days. And so I hand out certificates that I designed. One, your success story, congratulations, and even on a lesser level, you're honoring your obligations, keep up the good work, that sort of thing. Because a lot of these kids don't have anything positive in their life, no positive reinforcement, nothing at home, nothing at school. I mean, they run into nightmare, dysfunctional lives. And for a judge to have everybody in the courtroom applaud anything they do right and have them come up and shake their hand and send them home with something to put on their wall while they go back into something where it's all screams and substance abuse and whatever else they're going back into, could make the difference the next time they make or may make a wrong decision about committing a crime, or whether they care about their grades, or whether they want to try and do something positive. And I think, like I said, I want to make a difference one child at a time, one community at a time, everybody makes a little bit of difference. And I just believe that. Every little bit helps.
It's Robert Watson again. One last question, and then we'll turn it back over to the questioners. As an historian, when I go to a Civil War, Revolutionary War battlefield, I feel differently, and it takes me to it differently, and I view the topic differently. If I go to a presidential home, I have a different perspective than sitting in a classroom. Being a judge is a unique and extremely important job. How do you balance your honor with being Merrilee? And is it there's a moment when you go into the courtroom, like an athlete going onto the court or something, where you feel the rush or the roar of the audience? Is it when you put on the robe? Is it when you smack the gavel? Is there a moment that you feel this great responsibility of being a judge? And how do you handle that?
I have to leave Merrilee at the door and go, showtime. Yeah, I think it's an awesome responsibility. And I bring with me who I am, but I have to leave Merrilee at the door. Because I want to do the job of the defense when they let down, or I want to do the job of the prosecutor. I want to do everybody's job. I want to figure things out, and sometimes I have to step back and be the judge. And it's an awesome responsibility. And I have to remember, when I come in early in the morning, sometimes I walk into my courtroom and stand down in the pit, and sometimes I stand in the back of the courtroom, so I can remember what they're seeing, what I used to see, because it's very different sitting where I'm sitting now. And I have to remember that view. And that's what keeps me, my perspective straight.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Judge Ehrlich, thank you for this wonderful interview, and hope you have best success in your future.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you.